Ethereum at its most exciting level since the 7th of April. Could something massive be about to unfold in crypto this week? Let's dive in and look at a few different factors which make me think that Ethereum is almost ready to explode into a bull market. Guys, jumping into the chart, we can see a falling wedge for Ethereum. And yes, you're probably saying it's been talking about this for weeks. And obviously, guys, because it's been in a falling wedge since back in December. But ultimately, this will break to the upside at some point, whether it does it now or whether it does it slightly later on. We're going to look at a few factors that make me think that potentially right now we could be looking to break out of this pattern, and that is going to be explosive for crypto. Now, before we jump and look at the Ethereum chart, I want to consider a few different things that are going on. Everyone wants to know what's going on with crypto, and people are thinking that it's going to go lower. Everyone's telling me that they're waiting for Ethereum to fall to $1,000, Bitcoin to fall to 10K, whatever it is. When you start to see that in the market, guys, it shows that there is massive fear in the market. When we get lots of fear, this is a good time to buy. Why is that? Well, because you want to be doing the opposite of what the mass market is doing, because the mass market 99% of the time will get it wrong. And the reason for that, guys, is because your emotions will make you make decisions that are against what you really should be doing. So we look into the fear and greed index over on Twitter for Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin moves the market. For Ethereum, you can see the extreme fear level down here at 25, showing that this is potentially a good time to buy. This takes into account lots of different metrics across the internet, across Twitter, etc., to analyze what's going on, what people are saying. And you can see that it has been lower, but it's still sat at 25, which indicates it's probably still a good, reasonable price to buy at. And one thing that is getting me very excited, when we get to the bottom of these patterns, guys, we do need to see some sort of a pattern showing here, like some sort of a reversal pattern coming in. What I can see is very exciting indeed. I want you to look across at this beautiful diagram. Now, it's not going to be quite as perfect as this when we look at it on Ethereum, but this is called a cup and handle because it looks very much like a cup and handle. You can see that we have the cup part through here and then the handle part forming here. So what it's basically doing is rounding off across the bottom. We have a few points down in this low area here. We come up, we have a retest forming the handle part, and then you can see this sharp breakout part coming through here, and that is when we get into our bull run, guys. This here kind of indicates that it's coming. We have one last dip to enable a few more big buys to come in, and then the change in direction. Now remember, we're looking for a cup and handle, so where can we see one of these on this chart? Well, looking at the daily, guys, it's not completely formed yet, but you can see that we have somewhat of a cup pattern here. Obviously, as I mentioned, it's not completely smooth and perfect. We have had a little bit of a break below it here. Then we've come up to form the nice top of the cup up here, and now we're dropping down to form the handle. Okay, we've then broken beyond the handle, which is now bringing us into this absolutely crucial zone for the Ethereum chart. Why it's so crucial, guys? This yellow line is the upper line of that large falling wedge. Now, obviously, you can see that we've come up into this area and we've taken a little dip. It's not uncommon that we get into these areas of resistance and find a bit of a push down. And we could, in fact, be forming somewhat of a smaller cup and handle pattern forming in here, which means that we would be taking a drop again into this sort of red zone through here. Now, previously, I did think that the bottom of Ethereum would be down here in this green zone here. We have been here before. It would be potential that we could come in here again. But one thing that has me thinking that we're going to get into this red zone, you can see, guys, this doji candle here, which is like this sort of cross shape here, shows big indecision in the market, a big aggressive push out back into this zone, aggressive push, and eventually we came back to retest it. I think we're going to potentially retest it again, and we could see something like this, an aggressive shove down and then a push. This means that potentially in the next few weeks, potentially even in the next week, we'll be breaking beyond this point. Now, if we break beyond this point here, you're probably thinking, oh, crypto's been boring, nothing's going on. If we break beyond here, guys, we could see a very fast, aggressive buy up, which will bring us to the $2,000 level, at which point we'll come into line with the 200-day moving average. We've not been above the 200-day moving average since all the way back here on the 8th of April. We did briefly break beyond it, but we got pushed back down. I believe that if we're breaking beyond it this time, we're going to see a push. I think the first time we come into contact with it, we're going to come up to $2,000. We're going to come back for some sort of a retest around the level that we're at now, and then, only then, will we see a really aggressive push towards the upside. Things looking very exciting. If we jump across to Bitcoin, guys, we can see this even more clearly. We've got this line here showing again a big falling wedge pattern. Bitcoin obviously controls the market or indicates what's going on. Because on Bitcoin, we've had this low, we've come back down into pretty much that same low zone. We are looking like we're going to be forming a nice W pattern. I think that we're going to break beyond here and we're going to come up towards the 200, have a knock back down to retest this W pattern and then exploding towards the upside. So in the shorter term, Bitcoin could well be pushing up quite fast towards 28k, and that's going to cause a huge amount of excitement to rush into the market. Everyone's going to rush in, but I must say, guys, always wait for the retest. Every time you have a break beyond a key level like this, you're going to have a retest. The retest is the safest time to buy. If you buy up here, you run the risk of getting burned on the way down. Yes, guys, it could completely rocket up, but at some point, it's going to come back for some sort of retest. The faster and harder it comes up, the faster and harder it will come back for a retest. So, paying attention to what's going on with Bitcoin, I think somewhere over the next week or so, things are looking really exciting. Now we want to jump across and look at the US dollar index. And why do we want to do that? Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything is against the US dollar. So when the US dollar is going up, everything else must go down against it. Very logical. We had a break out of this rising wedge, bang, down below. The most exciting part of that, guys, is this high here didn't hold as support. We have now ripped down below and had this green candle posted down here. This daily green candle is significant because if we're breaking these lows here, then we're probably going to be running into an area down at this level. We've obviously got this rising wedge for the US dollar, which can break towards the upside, but theoretically, more likely than not, break towards the downside. We post something like this, in which case we'll have a shoulder, head, and another shoulder. The US dollar then is looking more and more likely that it's going to blow off top. You can see what the US dollar has been doing since May this year. It's absolutely been ramping up. The last time, remember, Bitcoin had that surge towards the upside was around the 8th of April. See, that happened around this area. From then on, US dollar ramped. Bitcoin has done the opposite. Crypto has done the opposite. Ethereum, everything has reacted as such. Ethereum news still continues to be pretty negative. Bitcoin news across Bloomberg and everything else, still pretty negative. Lots of negative news is a good thing because when you get very positive news, you've probably noticed in the past that the next day it crumbles and falls because the big money is the ones who are making the news happen. Control the emotions, don't get too greedy on the way up and don't get too fearful on the way down. Do the opposite of the mass market. So jumping back to the Bitcoin chart, there's two scenarios that could unfold right now. First scenario is dropping down to this red line and pushing out. Second scenario could be breaking up to 200 and then pushing back down for a retest. I think the safest thing to do really is waiting to get involved with the 200 moving average. A breakdown and then a push beyond the 200 is going to signal our start to the bull run. This is the cross that we're looking for. That for me is the bull run. Yes, we've done it before, but ultimately we're at a level right now that we are so low down that I think a cross across this point is going to be the start of the bull run. Things are going to get very exciting from that point on. We're jumping into a 15-minute chart then. We can also see some interesting things playing out. We had this sort of rising pattern here. We broke beyond it and now sort of retesting it potentially as support. If we're finding support here, then literally by tomorrow, guys, we could well be starting to break beyond this point. That's going to be massively exciting, and I for one am going to be paying very close attention to these charts, which I haven't been doing, admittedly, through the summer for various reasons. Mainly because crypto has been pretty boring more recently, but things are going to get very exciting if we break beyond this point. I'm going to start bringing you multiple updates a day. I'll also start looking at different cryptocurrencies, so if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe if you want to know exactly when to be buying these, when to see the retests, and when you need to be getting involved in crypto. Obviously, guys, it's not financial advice. I'm telling you to go and buy. I'm not trained or qualified to do that. I'm saying what I'm doing right now, what I'm seeing, but go away and do your own research. Look at what's happening across the markets. Look at all the fear right now. Go across the news, see what the fear is telling us, and basically, arguably, do the opposite of fear versus greed. If everything is very fearful across Twitter, etc., then maybe it's time to get involved. And on the opposite side, if there's lots of greed in the market, when we get later on in the year and we see big pushes in crypto prices, then always be taking profits. There's nothing wrong with taking money off the table. People might get aggressive and defensive about you doing it, but it's not a bad thing, trust me. So in general, I think this week into next week is going to be an extremely exciting time within cryptocurrency, especially within Ethereum. So make sure you're paying attention to what's going on. Make sure you're liking this video, subscribing to this channel, and I'll keep you up to date as and when it happens. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon with another video. Bye-bye.